Hey guys, Furum here, and today I'm going to be testing the Jaguar CX-75 in multiplayer in Asphalt 9 at Golden Max in its multiplayer season. Now, this is the first multiplayer video I have made since the British season update has dropped, so I have a lot to talk about. It's kind of funny actually, I was on a streak of like a dozen or so multiplayer videos, and then the update dropped, and I did 4 videos that weren't my normal multiplayer videos. Just an interesting observation of mine. First of all, this car is an unleashed car, which is the first one of those for a new car in a very long time at this point, and I am very happy about that, because Unleashed was always the way that people would get cars like the Huera and the Porsche 918 early on in the game, and it just brings back some good memories. Now, this car is not the king of A-Class and probably will not be a king of the class, but it's still very good. Here, I tried to go to the right to avoid knocking Zaffy down. Unfortunately, I did not succeed at that. I had a lot of really good races with him in this season, and if you're watching this, I apologize for those times that I may have knocked you down accidentally. The CX-75 is one of the smoothest driving cars that I have played in this game for a little while. Unfortunately, to its downfall, its acceleration is not very good. It is below 76, which is very bad for a high-end A-Class car, and is the main reason why I do not think this car is going to be a king of its class. In this season, you can't really tell because everyone is in this car, and you have no more quickly accelerating cars to compare it to, but I think in a normal multiplayer season, this car will be good, but it might lag behind noticeably at the beginning, and I think in events, while it will be a reliable one to use there, I don't think it will be able to make as good of times as, say, the Tech Rules and the Huera, which it really doesn't have much better speed than, if at all, and it has worse acceleration. So I am sure that a lot of you are wondering, should you go for this car? A lot of people are going to be able to get about half the blueprints for this car, like I did in the Unleashed event, and have maybe 24 or so left, as I think I have. Now theoretically, statistically, you should be able to unlock this car in spending about 3,000 tokens. However, drop rates have been notoriously bad for a lot of people in these packs. Noticeably, Hot Dog in his live stream opened a lot of them, and he got 3 in most of them instead of 6, and it took him a lot more packs than it should have in order to unlock this car. So it's really up to you if you want to risk that poor drop rate. Now here I come up to the very end of this race with a Feek right behind me, but he comes in first in this race by a single frame. Now he was streaming at the time, and I watched this race from his perspective, and because he had a poor connection, he was able to phase through me and was slightly ahead of me toward the end of that race on his screen, even though that wasn't the case on mine. But it was a very fun race, and you know, I didn't even realize that I was racing a Feek until the end of the race. Otherwise I probably would have gotten a little bit flustered and not done as well as I did. So in my book, that's a win. So let's talk a little bit about some other new things in the update. If you haven't seen my video about the update, or videos actually, well, my most recent one where I talked about the max stats of the cars, I would definitely recommend checking those out. But there's a few things I need to say. First of all, a lot of people were curious about how the Bentley Continental GT3 could have such terrible handling like I mentioned, with having like a 73 handling stat or something like that. Well, the handling in and of itself is not too bad on that car, but the drifting is a very different stat of a car than just handling. There are some cars in this game that have very good drifting but poor handling, and some vice versa. That car is definitely to the extreme of good handling and very, very bad drifting. Here, I didn't think I was going to come in first. I thought he'd pass me at the last second. Thankfully, he didn't, and we come in first, but at the very same frame. And the way I found out the GT3 had such terrible drifting was I was driving it in a max free try event on 1,000 Minarets, I think it was, and I was going through it and I was thinking, this is okay. It's still not great for D-Class. It has 196 miles per hour, kind of mediocre nitro efficiency. It's not going to be a king, but it handled okay. But then when I got to the big 360-degree turn, I was going around it, and literally I could not get close to the inside wall. I was barely going around it, not touching the outside wall. It was definitely painful to play in, and somebody asked me if it was worse than the Targus drifting. Yes, I would definitely say it is, and keep in mind that was at max. That is going to be a Grand Prix. Now, if you played in the Corvette C7R Grand Prix, you know how terrible it is to play in a Grand Prix with a car that has terrible drifting. If you think the Corvette C7.R had terrible drifting, wait till you see this GT3. I'm not looking forward to that. And speaking of the C7.R, I did win that interesting story. I came in 18th out of 20 in Tier 1 in a first Grand Prix because I didn't want to spend tokens on it, and I already had the Furai, and it just would have been sort of pointless for me to go for it, I guess, at that point. And when I realized I was terrible at driving it and was in no way going to come close to winning it, I sort of slacked off a little bit. But then when I opened the packs, I think there were 18 of them or something like that, I got the key for the car in the final of the 18 packs that I opened. So I have that car at 1 star. I'll probably make a video about it, perhaps take someone's 2-star races as well, maybe so we can see if there is much of a big difference in that car when you start up, because at 1 star it's no good and it should not be driven. As for the other cars in the update, of which there are quite a lot, the other Bentley, the Bacalar, I think it is, I said Balacar, I think, in the first video about it, and a lot of people got onto me about that in the comments, so I made sure to say it right in the second one. That car actually drives just fine. It is extremely similar to the Gallardo in overall performance, and probably is going to do just about as well as that car on some tracks. So if you did not get the Gallardo Legend Pass, and you want a Legend Pass car that is similar, get this one. The F1LM is a little bit of a letdown, honestly. We thought it was going to be the new overall King of B class, and everybody was saving up their tokens all to get it, and it is the fastest car in the class, and it has good nitro and good handling and everything, but its acceleration is like 74.5, which is worse than this car and is atrocious for Class B. So I think it might have some potential to be a king on some of the longer top speed tracks, but the thing is with that is the Apollo N is hardly any slower, like 1 or 2 miles per hour, and it has a lot better nitro efficiency, and on the top speed tracks, nitro efficiency and handling, which the Apollo N has worse of than the F1LM, are not as important as the acceleration and the top speed. So I'm just kind of wondering where the F1LM is actually going to be able to show off that high top speed and good nitro and everything of it, because its acceleration is just going to hamper it. That being said, I think it is definitely going to have the potential to become the new best car for B-Class Slipstream, because it doesn't really matter the acceleration as much when you can just slipstream people at the beginning, fall a little back, and then get shockwave and just shockwave past them all because you're faster than them all. In that case, I think this car is going to be really, really good. And in multiplayer in general, it might be okay. You're just going to have to deal with falling behind quite a bit at the beginning of the races. But I think it's going to be an okay car, just not as good as we thought it was going to be. It will definitely have its uses, but it won't be some just beast in its class. And I noticed that it was kind of a trend among the new cars in this update that they did not have good acceleration, so not exactly sure what's up with that. We've also got the Aston Martin Valhalla, whose special event is going on right now in the game. Now apparently that car is not going to be easy to get. It has the potential to become a new King of A-Class, and I actually think it is quite likely to be on some tracks at least, due to having basically good all-around stats. And after driving it in this special event, it feels very light, and yet pretty stable at the same time, so I think it's definitely going to be a good one. However, the special event is not going to be very easy, as most of the cars in it require you to have very high stars on them in order to get the car. I'm not aware of the exact requirements needed in order to get the car, but I'll let you know once I find that out. I just know that it's not going to be an easy one. And then we have the couple of weird secret cars, which GameLoft didn't hide very well, since you can literally just go into career and go to one of the multiplayer seasons for B and S class and see them, not hidden all that great. But the first one is the Apex AP0, a cute little car that doesn't look particularly useful due to its extremely low top speed for its class, second only to the Ford GT Mark II in terms of slowness for Class B, but the rest of its stats aren't even nearly as good as that of the GT Mark II, so I have no idea where that car is going to come in handy. And then the other secret car is definitely more interesting, the McLaren Speedtail, which is one that people have wanted to see in Asphalt for a very long time. Its stock stats are a lot like the Lycan's, but with worse acceleration, starting at only 73. Again, continuing with that trend of low acceleration for some reason. Now, this car does go up to 6 stars, so I do think it is going to be better than the Lycan when maxed out for sure, but it's not going to be a top speed car of its class. It's probably going to be similar to that of the, I don't know, Terzo or something like that. So it'll be interesting to see where it ends up. I think it's definitely going to be middle S class, but but it just all depends on how much its stats go up as the car gets upgraded to higher stars, and which of them actually gets upgraded the most, because that varies from car to car too. Whereas a car might look like one car at stock, it might look like a completely different one at max. You really can't tell. And now it is time for my general review about this car, the CX-75. It is an extremely fun car to drive. I enjoyed this season a lot, and I will continue to as it lasts a few more days. Its top speed, nitro, and the handling are all quite good for its class, with only its acceleration kind of being a weak point, and we're catching up to 1% night here. Now what's interesting is in the top 10 on multiplayer in Windows as I'm recording this, 3 are Legions United, 3 are Pro Team, and 3 are 1%. Pretty cool. Now at the end of this race, I thought for sure I was going to lose, but he hits a car at the very last second, and I come in first, and reach Elite League in this race, and reach a place on the leaderboard that a certain Minecraft YouTuber would be proud of. Thank you all for watching. Please like the video if you have enjoyed, and consider subscribing for more Asphalt and other games content, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye!